With the imminent release of WWE 2K25 coming out in March of this year, I just feel so underwhelmed, and it truly does break my heart because the WWE game series has been hit or miss at best over the last decade. And in this video, we're going to figure out what happened in the last 10 years and what I would do to fix the WWE game series in the future. And before we get to the biggest turning point, we have to start at where we was at before the downfall started. During the very early years of the 2010s, the WWE game series was at its absolute peak. And for my money, that run from SVR 2010 all the way to WWE 2K14 is the best wrestling video game run of all time. SmackDown vs. Raw 2010 implemented the creative story mode. SmackDown vs. Raw 2011 also implemented Universe mode, which is still in the game to this day. WWE 12 came up with a different approach to the Road to WrestleMania game mode, in which that was when they basically made each and every story, which was like 3, an interconnected story transitioning in between each other, in which for my money, I think that was the best Road to WrestleMania I've ever played. And how could I forget about WWE 12's Universe mode? It felt like each and every cutscene had a purpose. It wasn't like I was seeing the same cutscene every 2 weeks every time I would play a match. And then with the rivalries and the feuds that would happen in Universe mode, 2 wrestlers that are in the rivalry, they would not be facing each other every single week. And then WWE 13 was essentially everything WWE 12 was, but it improved on nearly everything except for Universe mode. Don't get it twisted, Universe mode was still great this year. And it also had the Attitude Era game mode, which was absolutely phenomenal. Added new gameplay additions like catch finishers being added into the game, which is still in the game to this day. WWE 13 also added an OMG moments, which was a staple into the gameplay for almost a decade later. But unfortunately, 2 months after WWE 13 came out, THQ filed for bankruptcy and basically went under. And this is when the then called WWE 14 was in production. So 2K basically just told THQ, yo, y'all can come over, y'all can finish this game, and we'll just publish it for you. And then 10 months later, THQ and 2K, they released, for my money, the greatest wrestling game of all time. 2K14 was essentially the magnum opus of wrestling games, if you ask me. The game had a great roster, great gameplay, great game modes. It was flawless. And if you were to travel back in time and tell 10-year-old me, yo, it doesn't get better than this, I would be heartbroken. And then after 2K14, I basically was so excited for what's to come next because, bro, there's no way like they don't improve upon this. And then 2K15 came out. So essentially 2K, they sat out an extra year because the PS4 and Xbox One were coming out in 2013. They basically sat out an extra year to work on 2K15, and yet 2K15 flopped. And yes, both versions of the game were not good, but we're gonna start off with the PS3 and Xbox 360 version of the game. 2K15 was legitimately 2K14, but without all the fun game modes. The 2K Showcase was phenomenal, but I don't think it was better than 30 years of WrestleMania or nothing. The same goes for who got NXT, and it also had a worse roster. Not to mention it didn't have creative finisher nor creative story at all, which to this day I don't understand why like it didn't like transfer over. But I will say the implementation of storylines in Universe mode was a great thing, and I don't know why they never brought it back. It was just there for that 1 year. And then in November of 2014, the PS4 and Xbox One edition of WWE 2K15 releases, and goddamn, that shit was an atrocity. Just imagine everything I said previously about the current gen edition, but worse. The gameplay was slow as shit, couldn't create a female superstar, and there was barely any match types at all. And it's even worse when you remember the fact that they spent an extra year developing this game too. And then 2K16 comes out, and it is a massive improvement from 2K15, better gameplay. Literally, it exceeds at everything but Universe mode. But overall, it's just a pretty good game. And then everything came crashing down for the next 2 years. 2K17 and 2K18 legitimately had nothing. 2K17 had a really good roster and really good gameplay, but that was literally it. Not to mention, you had to pay for Showcase mode this year too, as a DLC. And 2K18 had improved graphics and improved gameplay, but once again, they basically upped it from what 2K17 did, and they was like, you know what, fuck it, we're not even gonna give y'all a Showcase mode this year. But then 2K19 came out and it gave me hope. This game was also damn near perfect. Great gameplay, great roster, great universe, great showcase, great my career too. If 2K19 had creative story and creative finisher, it would be by far the greatest wrestling video game to ever be made. And then like something crazy happens afterwards. During the middle of producing 2K20, they decided to end their partnership with 2K, and then 2K made the worst mistake of all time, and that was releasing 2K20 in October of 2019. And on that day, WWE 2K20 had the worst release of any wrestling game I've ever seen. Like, bro, they didn't even finish the damn game. And then 2K made the decision to not make a 2K21 and take an extra year to work on 2K22, and they decided to hire a new dev team to work on this game. And I remember during quarantine, the new 2K dev team, they released a survey for everybody, and they asked them what game modes you want to see get added into the WWE Games franchise in the future. And hopefully I find the picture, but I remember MyGM won the survey as well. And now the clock turns to 2022. The 2K22 trailer comes out and everybody is hyped. I adored 2K22 when it first came out, but it had its flaws. Obviously the gameplay, stunt stacking, the pin escape, like those things were just blatantly obvious. Universe mode was pretty bad too. IGN was very bare bones, and the showcase could have been better too. And this was also the first year of my faction. And oddly enough, I winded up catching myself not even playing the game completely anymore after like 3 months. But I let it slide and I looked forward to the next game, WWE 2K23. And I don't think I've ever been this excited over a wrestling video game in a very, very, very long time. All the news I'm hearing about 2K23 made me think that this game was going to be generational. The introduction of War Games, the John Cena showcase mode, adding rivalry actions to Universe, implementing more things to MyGM, not to mention completely revamping cars to make them look like 2K actually sculpted the full like face scan and everything. So now Community Creations cars look even better now. And yet again, I was bamboozled. Universe mode still didn't work. The John Cena showcase mode was lackluster. Only 3 people still played my faction. MyGM didn't really move the needle as much as it should have. Had to wait a century to get into Community Creations as well. And if I'm not mistaken, the May 16th, 2023 patch update for 2K23 irreversibly destroyed the server. And then after that update, I kid you not, you could not finish a full match online at all. And it was like that until like August or July, which is fucking insane. And after that, I stopped playing the game in August. And even then, I let it slide too, because after that, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna look forward to 2K24, because I understand this is the first year where you guys only had 12 months to make the next game. Then January 2024 rolls around, and then the teasers and the news for 2K24 rolls around, and I'm fucking excited. Now we're getting even more match types. Now we're getting the ambulance match. Now we're getting the casket match. Now we're getting the gauntlet match. Now we're getting the special guest referee match. Improvements to both Universe mode and MyGM. Now they're giving players a reason to play my faction with the addition of Persona cards, where if you get the Persona card, it gets added into your offline roster. And obviously the addition of 40 Years of WrestleMania 2. And unfortunately, 2K24 just didn't stick the landing. 40 Years of WrestleMania was really bad. And this was like the worst of like the whole slingshot gameplay for 2K Showcase, because majority of the time we was just sitting there just watching the match just go by. Universe mode improved, but it was shallow. Like there wasn't any major improvements to Universe mode. Persona cards on my faction were literally impossible to obtain unless you spend a shitload of money. And I haven't finished my Rise, but even then I haven't heard much about it neither. And MyGM still isn't as good as it once was, or as it could be. And then after that, I deadass stopped playing the game in like May or June. And I already know a few 2K24 defenders are gonna be like, but bro, what about the gameplay? What about the DLC? Like those things are great, but they're not sustainable, bro. They're just not. And over the last like 2 entries, 2K, they focus more on match types than game modes. And that is 2K's biggest problem to this day. And even when they try to add in these new game modes are not going to work. They're not gonna keep players playing for a 12-month span. And this past Monday, I'm hearing that 2K25 is gonna have like a fucking park. Like, what are we doing? And the 2K devs, they're trying to make WWE 2K like NBA 2K, but bro, it's a completely different sport. Like, hopefully I'm wrong, but bro, like I think my faction was all you needed to figure this out. So now you guys are wondering, what would I do to fix the 2K game series? Number 1, stop making the game on last gen ports. This is what's ultimately holding your game back, because you're not using all your resources and you're not using every single dev to work on just one generation of a game. Completely overhaul Universe mode. Universe mode should have the draft. Universe mode should have different types of rivalries that are not just 1-on-1 and 2-on-2. Bring back promos for Universe mode. Bring back storylines for Universe mode too, because that made every single feud unique, because you was able to pick specific storylines for each and every rivalry. And obviously add more cutscenes. Delete my faction. I think My Rise is fine just as it is. Just keep innovating the story and try to make the story a bit longer than it usually is. Get rid of slingshot gameplay for 2K Showcase, obviously. Fix them damn servers. You make too much money for your servers to be this ass. And for MyGM, we should be able to do actions like movie trailers, sit down interviews, charity events on the days that we're not booking our show. Obviously being able to import our own music into the game, which to this day I don't understand why this is even an issue. Obviously bring back creative finisher. And last but not least, The game mode that I think will save the WWE Games franchise: bring back Create a Story. Create a Story being added in will add so much longevity to your game, it's not even funny. Especially now in the 2020s, because now obviously technology has advanced since the last time Create a Story was in a wrestling video game, and obviously the possibilities are endless for these stories to be shared within the wrestling community. So basically, bro, as a community, we really gotta lock in and we gotta stop letting this shit slide, because I'm tired of 2K every year just adding in a couple match types and then slightly improving the gameplay and then having us spend our hard-earned money on the game just for the game to not even really move the needle for anybody. I'm tired of having just good wrestling games every year. I need grades. You guys make too much money to half-ass your games. And that's the video. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys in the next one.